What is up, guys?
Hey, man.
Roman. Nice to meet
Hey,
you.
how are you doing today?
So, everyone's dying to know, how did you guys meet? What was the process for AppDynamics and Cisco getting together?
Well, we've been having a conversation for a long time. First of all, Cisco has been a customer of AppDynamics for a long time, so we've understood and had familiarity with the company. Mm-hmm. And we had actually been in partnership discussions for some period of time. And through that process, it became obvious that what David and the company at AppD had created and what we wanted to do as a company, those things were really coming together. And we saw that we could provide something in the world that no one else could provide. The power of what Cisco has from an infrastructure, analytics, and visibility, and what AppD has from the perspective of from sort of visibility all the way from the customer back to the code. So putting those two together is going to be a pretty magical combination.
That's great, but even simpler than that, was it like, did a VC get you guys together? Like, how did this work out? I mean, did you guys just, hey, let's have coffee, I want to buy you?
I think it happened more organically than that, right?
Yeah.
A lot's been talked about in terms of the last few days. Mm-hmm. But again, as Rowan said, they were a customer. The first step was they needed our product because they are a digital first company, and they needed to use AppDynamics to monitor everything that was going on, understand how their customers were doing, and ensure that they were doing what they needed to do to satisfy the customers and drive the business. So they started off as a customer. What we realized along the way, and what really went to a peak moment over the holidays, was that this partnership opportunity, when you think about what we did at the application, user, and business level, and what they were doing at the infrastructure level, coming together and giving you that end-to-end view is something no one else did. So we started getting really excited about that over the holidays. Yeah. Right after we talked, we filed to go public. And started down that process, and that apparently started a clock at Cisco to say maybe we should move things along fast.
We've written about this at TechCrunch. Was this a dual track process that you guys were going to IPO and everything, and then you float the idea to Cisco, or was this even before that? Was it a discussion to take a while?
This was not a dual track process. If you look at AppDynamics, we were about to become the fastest growing software company in the public markets. We've been on a tear for a long time. Our customer list continues to grow. We have great tailwinds coming in from public cloud, driving business our way. We service the largest enterprises in the world. We have an incredibly efficient direct sales process. We were going public, and it was as simple as that. We were engaging in no other activities. Other than partnership activities, which we were having with conversations with Cisco and others, and Cisco came in at the 11th hour of that process and gave us something we had to really think about.
So Cisco was the only company that was there wasn't a fighting or a bidding war or anything like that.
This was we were going public. That was the primary focus.
Awesome.
Cisco was the obvious choice.
Why buy AppDynamics, and where does AppDynamics fit into Cisco?
Yeah. So. We have a new CEO, Chuck Robbins. He's been on board now for 18 months. I actually come from the app dev world, so that's why I'm a software developer. I've been doing that for my whole life. And I came to Cisco specifically because we saw the need, and Chuck and his predecessor, John, saw the need to transform the company. So what you're really seeing is a reflection of a new Cisco emerging right now. About a year ago, Chuck asked me to take on this role running our applications division. So we've created a new division around applications. And the vision of that essentially is that where Cisco has sort of led the revolution of the internet and the creating of the internet from an infrastructure perspective, that's a bottom-up sort of view of the world. And the world is very much now onto applications. And if you think about what's happening in IoT, or what people say is digitization, which I don't really like that word, but that idea of every company becoming a tech company, the infrastructure just becomes the means to the end. And what's important to the customer is the end. And that's where AppD comes in. Without that level of visibility and business relevance to the customer, you can't really complete the story. And I think that's what customers care about. It's the technology is interesting only in the sense that it allows them to drive a totally radically transformed business model or a different value proposition for their customers. So my view was, we as an infrastructure company at Cisco had to get more relevance at the top of the stack for our customers. And right now, nobody is more relevant to our customers from an application perspective than AppD. Put those two things together, and again, I think we have something magical.
This will give you a big competitive advantage.
Huge.
Yeah, and again, I'm going back to that. Rowan mentioned this a couple times. The customers need this, right? This is something that if you think about from an enterprise perspective, in order to compete, you have to move much faster and you have to be really agile. And every investment you make, regardless of where it sits in the stack, if it's at the application tier or at the network tier, every decision you make at the end of the day has an implication on your user and has an implication on your business. And coming together, we are literally the only company that can give enterprises a real-time unified view all the way from the lowest levels of the network all the way to the exact experiences of the end user and the real-time view of the business that they need to compete.
What challenges do you think you'll face being part of a large organization like Cisco as opposed to being independent?
So from my perspective, Rowan and I, and this was something Rowan and I talked a lot about at the very tail end of the process as it came together, is that we have a lot of mojo going. We have an amazing engineering team, we have an amazing sales organization, and we have an amazing set of customers. Coming in the context of Cisco, getting that balance of the autonomy to continue to do what we're doing, while getting the access that Cisco has to the market and the tens of thousands of enterprise customers is absolutely front of mind for how we've been talking about this. Our sales guys basically say if they can knock on a door, they can close the customer because everyone needs this technology today. Everyone's becoming digital. If you're becoming digital, you need AppDynamics. And what Cisco brings to the table is relationships with all of the doors we want to knock on. So the ability to accelerate what we're doing, I think, is fantastic.
You guys have grown like amazingly well, super fast, and you've been independent this whole time.
Yeah.
You think it'll just be exactly as it was before, no challenges, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you're a huge, you have an overlord now.
Do I look like
He looks like a very nice overlord to me. I don't know.
The way I view this, and this goes back to every conversation that we've had together and all the interactions we've had, AppDynamics is a mission-driven company. They've been out driving this mission, and that is reflected in the growth, frankly. I mean, they've been laser focused on that. And but there's a challenge when you want to keep scaling at that level as you go global, as you want to get in front of the Global 2000 and every other company in the world. And that's where Cisco comes in. Cisco has done that work and has put in the 20 years or 25 years, as long as the company's been around, essentially, establishing those long-time relationships with these customers. You probably have the world's best enterprise sales force at Cisco today, right? 20,000 sellers, 250,000 partner sellers that wake up every day selling Cisco equipment and selling Cisco software. So you have this amazing market access, and some things that are really important in the world need to be can only be done at massive scale. So this, in my view, is a major accelerant. And I think the reality is
you guys are pouring gas on the fire.
Company. Exactly. This is a big company, and there's a lot of gas in the tank at Cisco to pour on that fire.
Yeah.
Question for David.
Yeah.
David, for you personally, what's it like to go from running the show to now you're part of a bigger organization? I mean, you probably had board of directors before, right?
Sure.
But now you might have a little bit of a boss. Are you guys fully autonomous? Are you guys going to be fully independent? Or how do you feel about it?
So let me put it this way. Rowan and I, from the very beginning, I told him this. I walked out of that initial meeting, and the vision that I had and that we were driving toward at AppDynamics, and the vision that he was articulating could not have been more consistent. So my view is that if there's a consistency in terms of where we want to go, everything else is going to flow from there. And I think I think Rowan understands what AppDynamics has been able to do with autonomy, and I think it's clear that we will have that kind of autonomy. But what Rowan also clearly brings to the table is this incredible machine that Cisco has built over the decades that can accelerate. So I think it's going to be a fantastic partnership.
Awesome, guys! Congratulations again,
Thank you.
$3.7 billion. I mean, that's a pretty penny right there. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.